You're probably familiar with the GTX 1060, a graphics card released in 2017. It came in 3GB or 6GB variants. What about 5GB? Despite MSI's claims here, this is not the most powerful graphics card and isn't worthy of a warning, but it is unique. Kind of. And just to confirm, yes, this is a 5GB model. I'll explain why in a second. Taking a look at the Tech Power Up page for the 6GB GTX 1060 model, we see that we have a 192-bit memory bus, and we have 48 ROPs, as well as 1.5 megs of L2 cache. The rest of the numbers here are kind of important, but they're mostly the same. Moving over to the 5GB variant, we have lost 32 bits of memory bandwidth, which means that our gigapixel rate, our memory pixel rate, has dropped by roughly 13%, which is actually a pretty big number. We're also missing 8 ROPs, despite the fact that these are ostensibly the same graphics card, because the rest of the numbers match, except for the L2 cache, which is a very interesting reduction. I'm not sure why Nvidia chose to design a card that performs almost the same as a GTX 1060, except for in very specific circumstances, and then also hamper it in others, because why would you reduce the cache? Well, to explain why this card even exists, we need to explain China's gaming market, because China is very big on gaming, and they're also very big on esports titles and gaming cafes, somewhere you can go for a lunch or afternoon without actually owning the machine. You're more renting the machine for a period of time, and what those cafes need are cost-effective graphics cards to put in their machines. This is a China-exclusive graphics card. It was only ever released in China, and finding one for sale in the UK is kind of unheard of, especially since I don't think you're allowed to export these, or at least you weren't. They're not in manufacture anymore, so they're not being manufactured, I should say. So how this got here, I do not know. But what I can tell you is that on paper, depending on the game, this should match the performance of a GTX 1060 and somewhat beat a GTX 1060 3GB, but it's not going to be the same performance in every title because it's missing a bit of that memory throughput and it's missing some cache. And cache is really important. Ask AMD's FX lineup how important cache is.